Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Biden administration may go down in history as the most brazen constitutional fraud in American history. A Potemkin presidency fronted by a failing puppet with staffers behind the scenes pulling the strings. This is not political hyperbole. The American people saw it with their own eyes during the June 2024 debate. Numerous times, Biden stood frozen behind the podium.
What if I told you the most powerful signature in the world wasn't being signed by the President of the United States, but by a machine? What Senator Ted Cruz just exposed should alarm every American who cares about the Constitution.
Mouth agape, eyes frozen and unblinking. When he did speak, his words were confused and disjointed. I said that night, this is the most consequential presidential debate in history because it will result in one of the two candidates being removed from the ballot. That was exactly right. And following that debate, the Democrats recognized the collapse. They pulled out their knives and took out President Biden like Caesar on the Ides of March. For all of their strutting about, protesting that they support democracy, not a one of them gave a damn about democracy when they pulled Biden off the ballot and dropped Kamala Harris in without a single Democrat primary voter voting for him. And you know what? Not a single Democrat is here today because not a single one of them gives a damn about the fact that they lied to the American people for 4 years. They knew. Every one of them knew that Joe Biden was mentally not competent to do the job. The White House press secretary, she knew when she stood in front of the American people and lied over and over and over again. And they're not here because they can't defend themselves. It wasn't a surprise. For 4 years, the White House hid President Biden from Republican senators, would not let him meet with us. He served 40 years in this body. We all know him. And they deliberately lied. And by the way, Jake Tapper had a bombshell book exposing the incredible scandal that Biden's mental decline was covered up by Jake Tapper. There's a Yiddish word, chutzpah. And that truly is chutzpah. How dare we lie and cover up what we all knew? Now, I have been asked literally 1,000 times by Texans, who was running the country? And I'm going to give you the most terrifying answer. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. And not a single Democrat here cares. The most telling proof of Biden's decline came with the signature of the president, the symbol of executive authority that was outsourced to a machine. Mr. Wold, you're a lawyer who served in the White House counsel's office. You understand the gravity of presidential action. Does the president's signature carry legal and constitutional weight under Article 2?
Yes.
Is the act of signing an executive order or signing a law or granting a pardon a delegable duty of the president?
So in that opinion in 2005 from OLC, they said essentially that an Autopen could be used by a subordinate, but the president's determination as to sign the document can never be delegated.
Can that authority be transferred to a staffer or a machine without the president's explicit authorization?
Never.
And if you look at the statistics are stunning. In 2021, President Biden issued 78 executive orders. None were signed with an Autopen. That first year of the presidency, Biden, I suppose, was relatively lucid, and 78 executive orders he signed by hand. The second year, however, we see the Autopen emerge. The first Autopen executive order was issued on July 15th, 2022. After that day, 100% of the executive orders issued in 2022 were signed by an Autopen. In 2023, Biden issued 24 executive orders. 16 were Autopenned. In 2024, Biden issued 19. 14 were auto-penned. In 2025, Biden issued 14 executive orders. Every single one was auto-penned. Mr. Wald, let me ask you as a legal matter, if there's a law that's passed both houses of Congress and it goes to the White House, and a staffer auto-pens signing that law without the president's authorization, is that law legally passed and signed into law?
No.
If an executive order is issued and a staffer auto-pens it without the president's authorization, is that executive order legally binding?
No.
And if a pardon is issued from the President of the United States and a staffer auto-pens it without the president's authorization, is that pardon legally binding?
No.
Under the Biden White House, the ceremonial song, Hail to the Chief, was effectively replaced with Hail to the Pen. And it was an outright assault on democracy. And every reporter covering this ought to ask, why doesn't a Democrat care? We heard about the moral responsibilities of a staffer. How about an elected senator who knows damn well that if we get into a war and Iran is preparing to fire a nuclear weapon at the United States, that the commander-in-chief is busy playing with his Jell-O and is not competent to defend ourselves? And every member of the cabinet, the chief of staff, the press secretary, and the members of Congress who lied about this on a daily basis with the press's complicity, they are all responsible for subverting democracy.
Senator Cornyn.
Mouth
All right,
agape,
folks, let's talk
eyes
about what
frozen
just
and
happened in
unblinking.
this
When
hearing,
he did speak,
because this
his
wasn't
words
just
were
political
confused and
theater.
disjointed. I said
This
that
was a
night,
constitutional
this is the most
gut punch to the
consequential
Biden
presidential
presidency.
debate in
Ted
history
Cruz came
because it
armed
will
with
result
receipts,
in
and
one of
not
the
the
two
kind
candidates
Democrats
being
can spin
removed
away.
from the ballot.
He laid out cold, hard auto-pen statistics that
was
tell a story
exactly right.
the media has desperately
And
tried to
following
bury.
that debate,
In Biden's
the
first year,
Democrats
when even Democrats admit
recognized
he
the
was
collapse.
more with
They
it,
pulled out
not a
their
single
knives
executive order was signed with an auto-pen.
and took out
Not
President
one.
Biden like
78
Caesar on the
executive
Ides of
orders,
March.
all signed by hand. Then something changed.
For all of their
Starting in
strutting
mid-2022,
about, protesting
the Autopen
that they
suddenly shows up,
support
and from that point
democracy.
on it explodes. Every executive order
Not
in the
a one
latter
of them
half
gave a
of
damn about
2022
democracy
was
when they pulled
Autopen
Biden
signed.
off the ballot
The
and dropped
majority
Kamala
in
Harris in
2023,
without a single
most
Democrat
in
primary voter voting
2024.
for him. And you know
by
what?
2025,
not a single
every
Democrat
single
is
executive
here
order
today
was signed
because
by
not a
machine.
single one
That's
of them
not a coincidence.
gives a damn
That's
about
a
the fact that they
timeline of
lied to
decline.
the American people
Cruz
for 4
didn't
years.
just throw numbers around.
They knew.
He brought in legal reality.
Every one of them
Under
knew
Article 2 of
that
the
Joe
Constitution,
Biden was
the
mentally
authority
not
to decide to
competent
sign
to do
a
the
law,
job.
an executive order,
The White
or a
House
pardon
press
cannot be
secretary,
delegated.
she knew
Period.
when she stood in front
A
of the
staffer
American
cannot
people and
make that
lied
decision.
over
A machine
and over
cannot make
and
that
over again,
decision.
and they're not here
And if the president
because
did
they
not
can't
personally
defend themselves.
authorize it, those actions are
It wasn't a
constitutionally
surprise.
invalid. Let
For
that
4
sink in.
years, the White
If
House
a law was
hid
auto-penned
President
without
Biden from
Biden's knowing
Republican
authorization,
senators.
it's not law.
Would
If
not
an
let him
executive
meet with
order
us. He
was
served 40
auto-penned
years in
without
this
his
body.
approval,
We all know him.
it's not binding. If a pardon
And
was
they
auto-penned
deliberately
without
lied.
his
And by the
consent,
way, Jake
it's
Tapper
not valid.
had a
This isn't
bombshell
about
book
ink on paper. This
exposing
is about
the
who was
incredible
actually
scandal
running the country.
that Biden's
For
mental
4
decline
years,
was covered up
Democrats
by
told
Jake
us
Tapper.
Joe Biden was sharp as ever. They lied to your face.
There's a Yiddish
They
word,
lied from the
chutzpah.
podium. They lied
And
through
that
friendly
truly is
reporters.
chutzpah. How
And when the
dare
debate finally
lie
exposed
and
what
cover up
conservatives
what
had
we
been
all knew.
saying all along, they didn't defend
Now,
democracy. They pulled
I have
Biden
been
off the
asked
ballot and
literally
installed
1,000
Kamala
times
Harris without a single
Texans.
primary vote. That is not democracy.
was running
That is a
the
political coup carried out by
I'm gonna
unelected
give you the most
staffers,
terrifying
party
answer. I don't
elites,
know.
and media accomplices.
genuinely
the
don't
scariest
know.
part of Cruz's takedown
And not a
wasn't the
single
auto-pen
Democrat here
itself. It was
cares.
the unanswered question. If Biden wasn't making
The
these
most telling
decisions,
proof
who was?
of Biden's
Because the
decline came with the
Constitution
signature
doesn't
of the
recognize
president, the symbol
senior
of executive
advisors
authority
or
that was
anonymous staffers
outsourced
as commander-in-chief.
to a machine.
When the left lectures you about threats to
Mr.
democracy,
Wald, you're a lawyer who served in the
remember
White
this
House
moment.
counsel's office. You
Remember
understand
that they
the
were
gravity
perfectly
of
fine running
presidential
the
action.
country behind the scenes
Does the
while
president's
gaslighting the
signature
American
carry
people.
legal and
Ted
constitutional weight
Cruz
under
didn't
Article
just
2?
embarrass Democrats in that room.
Is
He
the act of
exposed one of the
signing an
most
executive
dangerous
order
constitutional scandals in
or
modern
signing a
American
law
history.